All right, so we're back here on another Washington football team pregame. We're here with my guy Rob from the from Football Chill podcast. What's going on, Rob?
Another day. Just wait until 5 o'clock for me, 8 o'clock for you.
Yeah, I know it must be nice to be out there in the West Coast where after the game you can enjoy some your evening versus us. It'll be Monday morning. I mean not Monday. Wow, it'd be Sunday morning, probably midnight.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
time's all said and
It
done with.
definitely is, especially considering the fact I got work. I got to be at work at 5:30 tomorrow morning. Yeah, it's
Oh, wow.
definitely nice.
Yeah, so yeah, you can get absolutely. That's the beauty, one of the perks of being out in the West Coast.
Yep.
But so we're here. Washington football pregame. We had it here on the Couch Coach Live Facebook page and also off the Ball Network Facebook page. So definitely check us out on both of those. Also hit that like button, share that button if you're a Washington football guy or girl. Interact with us as well. As we talk, we're going to preview this matchup between the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, this Super Wildcard weekend where the NFC East champions host the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So let's start our preview out first. Let's talk about our opponent, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Rob, your thoughts on the on our opponent, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers?
They are one of the most well-rounded teams in the league, hands down. You have the weapons on the outside. You got Mike Evans, you got Chris Godwin, you got Antonio Brown, Rob Gronkowski, you got Ronald Jones in the backfield, and obviously you got the GOAT playing quarterback. They have a really good offensive line. Tristan Wirfs is playing even better than what a lot of people thought he was going to be coming out of the first round, and it's a huge problem. It's going to be a huge problem for really anybody playing, especially us. Completely well-rounded. They have weapons everywhere. They can beat you 1,000 different ways.
And Tampa, like you said, Tampa is just a very versatile team. We look at just from offense to defense. They're probably one of the most complete teams in the league. They are kind of devoid of a lot of flaws. You talk about the offense. The offensive line has been very well. They've kept Tom Brady pretty clean thus far. Then also the weapons they have. We talked about Mike Evans I would assume at this point will probably be playing.
Yeah.
It's not 100% sure quite yet. Chris Godwin, even without him, they still have a formidable receivers and Godwin, also Antonio Brown, Gronk. Just a very fair and balanced team. We look at the running back situation with Fournette and also Ronald Jones. They're pretty effective. And then there's a guy, Tom Brady, the Michigan man, to say the least. He's just one of those guys that has impressed me throughout his whole entire career. Him, even back in the Michigan days, pretty much like I always talk about it, it was him and Drew Henson. And Drew Henson was the apple of everybody's eye. And Tom Brady was almost like the Jan Brady. He was just the middle sister, and essentially Drew Henson was like the Jan Brady, no pun intended with the Bradys and kind of that inner twin, but he was kind of one of those kind of guys, and that you see what he's doing now, and then being in this predicament at 43 years old and still playing at a high level as we talked about on Couch Coach Live on Tuesday. Then not to mention the defense. The defensive line is great. I mean, you look at guys like and a lot of worldly veterans. Jason Pierre-Paul, Dominican Sue, Devin White has had a hell of a year. This team is a very, like you said, very round team. Tampa's one of those. It's a very formidable opponent that we have tonight, and it's going to definitely be a very interesting of how we combat all those names and kind of as far as how we will be able to take care of business on that end. So, as we've been very complimentary to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, so Rob, I want to know, what are your keys to a victory over Tampa Bay?
So I'm going to go off of what we've usually been saying the last 5, 6, 7 weeks of the whole fast start. That's a given. We know we need to do that. We know we struggle there. The biggest key to victory for us is definitely going to be that defensive line showing up. And say what you want about Chase Young, after the game last week against Philly, saying, "I want Tom Brady. Tom, here I come." I hear a lot of people saying, "Oh, he shouldn't have done that," and he's arrogant. He's a young player. That's what you want in a player. You want a player to be hyped about, making the playoffs, winning the division, doing stuff like that. Because I actually read an interesting stat right before we got on when this season when Tom Brady is sacked less than 2 times, they're 8-0. When he is sacked 2 or more times, they're 3-5. So in all 5 of their losses, they have been he has been sacked at least 2 times, and that's going to be clutch for us. That's going to be our biggest because even all the networks, NFL Network, ESPN, Fox Sports, they're all saying our defense is what's going to win us the game if we can win. We know we don't have a high-powered offense. We're not scoring 30, 40 points a game. It's going to be that defense that we have to rely on to keep it a low-scoring game. It's going to start with Chase Young in that front 7.
Yeah. Absolutely, and like you said, I think a lot of it kind of like we talked about even last week with the with Philly. Like you say, have to go off to a great start. Even with that, like you look at how last week we were able to have a 10-0 lead in that game, and it kind of helped the momentum going forward. Where you're seeing Philly kind of come back and kind of wage back with us. So key started, like I said, the start is key. Also, because like you're saying, you don't really want Tom Brady to be you want to, like you said, this case is a little bit different because I think because with Tom Brady, you don't want to get him comfortable. Because I think if Tom Brady, like you said, if they go out to a fast start, it's almost like Tom Brady could just do anything. He could just literally pick us apart if we don't, it's like you said, establish the tone, especially from the defensive line immediately. That's going to be really the thing because you really want to get Tom Brady flustered from the jump. Yeah. You really want him to hear footsteps, and you want to hear him, essentially have that pressure because, like you said, and we all know that's his Achilles heel. We looked at and we not even to kind of lament on his failures, but you look at teams like the Giants in the Super Bowl. You look at even Philly in their Super Bowl as well, and then just other teams like even like you talked. And I'm glad how you put yesterday on See You Sunday, where essentially the teams that they struggle with almost have eerily the same type of personnel that we have when we talk about like the Chicago's and the New Orleans twice. Those type of situations where you look at it and that's something that you can definitely hold on to. And to your point earlier, Rob, about the whole thing with Chase Young, about him, talking about he wanted Tom Brady. That's what you want. You want a guy like that's up for the challenge. I don't want him to be like that's the funny thing. And I can be here for 2 hours talking about how you'll have people making sports so essentially like it's not like a microcosm of life.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, we always talk about, well, you always want to challenge, you need a challenge. Yep. Everybody need to be up for the challenge. Don't ever be scared of anything. But then when a guy like a Chase Young, who can back it up, and now it's like, oh, woke up the sleeping bear.
Yeah.
No. And if it is, it is. It is what it is. And Tom, he'll probably use to advantage. He'll use anything to advantage. Tom Brady will use a soundbite that we might have said about him last year, 10 years ago, and he'll use it. So it's not like, to me, the bulletin board material is dead, and then I'm hearing Bruce Arians crying, talking about something. Oh, but be careful what you ask for. No, this is what we want. Right. This is why we're here. Like, I'm not gonna I don't like throw that 79 BS that me and Rob has been regurgitated by our colleagues and our friends and family. Forget all that. We're here now. We ain't 79 no more. We're here now. So who gives a damn about all that? Let's throw all the records out the shelf. We're all 0-0. Whoever loses game is going home.
And we know that Bruce Arians and that whole Tampa Bay team wanted to lock up that 5 seed so they could get the winner of the NFC East. So yes, Bruce Arians, be careful what you wish for. It goes both ways. At the end of the day, the game needs to be played, and however the game turns out, it turns out.
Exactly. So to me, the whole thing of this whole like being the scared mentality, man, we're not scared. it's like, to me, and that's the thing that still kills me with people, and they're like, "Oh, well, you should never be that way." No, this is what it's supposed to be. And if it fell on our face, guess what? We ain't supposed to be here. We playing with house money.
Right. Exactly.
So to me,
Exactly.
right? So to me, throw all that stuff out the shelf, y'all. You can talk all you want. It was cute that you said, "Oh, we don't deserve to be here, but we're here." Get used to it. You'll see me and Rob talking about this, and
Right.
get used to it.
What do people always? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm watching the game live right now.
Fill me in, because I didn't want to have it on, because I know how Facebook has been a little, so give me what's going on
on
that
4th
game.
and 10. Phillip Rivers threw a pass, completed the pass. Receiver fell, got up, and it looked like he fumbled it as he was.
What?
Yeah, it looks like they stripped it. Pascal caught it for the first down, caught it sliding, got backed up, tried to make a move. Oh no, they're saying he was down. And they did not get the play. That's going to be reviewed.
Wow, so that's gonna be definitely. And you know what? It's funny, because I want to cut it off, because obviously I got the TV here in the background. Because I know Facebook, and we not to kind of go off the rails of it, but we know Facebook has been very sensitive, so I don't want us to get flagged, and it'll be a reflection to everything else. So I'm just gonna keep it PC. But anyway,
yeah. So the thing they always say about teams with nothing to lose, they're always the scariest. We have nothing to lose. We're not supposed to be here. We're 7-9. We're not supposed to be even thinking about a playoff run. We should just be happy to be here, which people like me and you, we are, because it's been 5 years for us. Right. But those players on the field, they're not just happy to be there. Right. They want to win. They want to keep going. They want to prove. They want to stun the world, and that's ultimately what they're trying to do.
Right. And we have the perfect leader that will galvanize his players.
Yep.
Big time. So, and also, who is the X factor in this matchup for you, and for you on our end?
So for individual X factors, one as a group, the whole front seven is going to be an X factor for me. But I like to pinpoint on individual players. One is going to be Montez Sweat, because we know Chase Young is going to do what Chase Young does. He's going to give 110% every single play. And whether he gets a sack or not, he's going to cause some disruption for Tom Brady. I truly believe that. So what Montez Sweat does on the other side, and even if they switch, because I think Tristan Wirfs is a left tackle. So, and majority Chase Young plays on the offensive left side of the ball. So if they switch, what Montez is doing on the right side against the right tackle, they could end up switching, and it could cause Chase Young to have a field day against their right tackle. Another one is Cam Curl. The ball's going to have to come out quick, so he's going to have to be there wherever the ball goes, in hopes that he's able to make a play, knock some passes out, and maybe get a pick.
Yeah, big time. I think the X factor in this. What's interesting, I think, like you said, definitely, like you said, Chase Young and also Montez Sweat, because I look at it, and almost kind of similar to what we talked about last week. I think they'll be the two guys that can make the plays on the defense. When we look at like Montez Sweat, like that, actually, I'm talking about that this during the week. Essentially, we need to have one of those type of moments where they can recover a fumble.
Yep.
And either score or put us in great field position. I think that's going to be kind of one of the what can help. But a guy who I really want to, and we talk about him often, but is Tress Way. I think the beauty of Tress is, as far as, because I like, and even because I think we, with his Washington football team, essentially there's always going to be, it's a prevailing theme with us. Essentially, a team that's definitely predicated on defense, they really have to have great field position to defend. So I look at Tress Way as far as if he can get punts inside the 20, that'll definitely help, and that helps sustain the drives where Tom Brady have long, pretty much have to have long drives and what have you,
right.
and essentially tire those guys out, because I think that's really the ultimate key is the field position, especially when you got Tampa where they have such a quick strike offense where essentially you want to at least kind of keep them condensed. Essentially, you want to keep them condensed. You kind of want to essentially stop them from having, pretty much making them earn every play, every possession.
Yep.
Moving the change is going to have to be the most difficult thing that Tom Brady has to do. So essentially, when you have him, as far as if he's playing on a short field, that definitely bodes well for us, where we'll be able to sustain drives and what have you.
Yep.
Yeah. So definitely appreciate everybody for checking us out tonight. Also, hit that like button, hit that share button. Also, interact with us in the comments. Just your thoughts on the game. We'll also, shout you out if you comment gang. So definitely comment on that as well. And so our next thing I want to talk about is the unsung player in this matchup.
So for me, it's going to be Holcomb. I can't remember his first name is Clay or Cole. Cole Holcomb out of your North Carolina Tar Heels. Yep.
Hey, what school you go to?
Yeah. Just again, it ties into the whole Cam Curl thing where if Tampa's gonna have success against our pass rush, Brady's gonna have to get the ball out quick. So that's gonna be the linebackers and DBs are gonna have to be there. Hopefully, it's going to be a lot of slants to the slot receivers, and that's where the linebacking core, more specifically Cole Holcomb, they're going to come in big. They're going to have to come in big, especially on those. If we can keep Tampa Bay behind the sticks, giving them a 3rd and 5 or longer, we're 6th against third down in the league on defense, 2nd and 4th down percentages, and in the red zone we're 4th in the league. So we are definitely a bend don't break type of team. We can let teams inside the 20, but after that, hold them to field goals, and that's going to be very dependent on that linebacking core.
Big time. And what's funny? And we kind of brought this up a little bit on See You Sunday, another Off the Ball Network exclusive. Ding ding ding. Plug. But so I think what I look in, and we look at Tampa Bay as far as being very stout when it comes to the run game. I look at two guys who could be the unsung players in this matchup. J.D. Mckesson, we talked about him on the show yesterday, essentially where he's kind of like a nice little safety blanket. He's a guy where he can catch passes off the backfield, which I think having that type of dimension is definitely going to help, because it's almost in a sense where it can kind of maybe potentially open up the run game, because it's almost a situation where it's another kind of dimension that can kind of second guess, Todd Bowles and his vaunted defense, former Washington football safety of the 87 Super Bowl champion Washington football team, the safety out of Elizabeth, New Jersey. But anyway, I digress. So, also, I look at him, and then also a guy like a Logan Thomas, which we talked about him yesterday as well. These are two kind of guys that in essence, they kind of already kind of had that unsung role in a sense where they've, a lot hasn't been required from them per se, but they have kind of, in essence, kind of overachieved, especially when we look at Logan Thomas, like we talked about. That was Bruce Arians, essentially his pet project as far as the Virginia Tech connection, both former Virginia Tech quarterbacks, and that was like his, that was his son. That's his Hugh Jackson to Baker Mayfield.
Yeah,
but triggered. Rob is triggered. but in all seriousness, you see these two, and the thing about it, they're both like, as far as their dynamic, they can definitely add a dimension to. And it's funny because now in a weird way, now the offense, they're kind of coming to fray in a sense where, we looked at, especially in the beginning of the season, where we looked at, where is like kind of the offensive production is going to come from. Yep. We looked at Logan as kind of like almost like he's almost like kind of Bruce Aaron, like more like a project. We figured, him from being a backup quarterback for many years, and almost now when it's his second or third year actually becoming a tight end. So he's made the transition pretty well, especially coming up from Detroit. Yeah. So he's been very well. And then Mckesson was one of those, like we talked about in the preseason. Essentially, we really didn't. I mean, even though he's been in the league, he's had a cup of coffee in a couple places, Seattle notably, but there was really no definitive. We couldn't really put a finger on JD. Essentially, we couldn't really. Mm-hmm. We really didn't have I call it a quote unquote an in-depth analysis for him because he was still kind of a question mark.
Yeah.
But that's another dynamic. So I look at those two, and I think they'll definitely help, especially regardless of who's going to be the quarterback, which I think we'll find out within the next hour or so. I know they would say Alex Smith is going to get to the arena, I think, within the next about few minutes. They said like 4 or 5 o'clock. And from there, he's going to kind of see what's going on. And then from there, we'll determine, Alex, as far as it will be playing. It's pretty much a game time decision. So we'll probably find out within the next few minutes, maybe hour or so. I think he'll get some looks. But so I think even regardless of who's the quarterback, your boy, you call him what, Taylor Hennessy?
Taylor Hennessy. Shout out to Mo.
Yeah, Ohio State.
Yep.
but yeah, so that's another thing too, where regardless of who's the quarterback, those two guys are definitely going to be an integral part offensively for this team. So so the final topic.
You know what? I'm sorry not to cut you off.
You good.
But if Taylor Hennessy does end up starting, I think it actually works out pretty well because, as I've been saying all season, is when teams don't have a lot of tape on quarterbacks, they tend to do well in those games, and then they obviously will have to grow. But this would only be, if he did start today, this will only be his second career start. And the reason they brought him in was because he was in Carolina with them, so he knows Scott Turner's offense. And I wouldn't be completely upset if he did end up starting.
Yeah, because at this point, like you said, there's familiarity regardless of whoever quarterback is there. Obviously, you would love Alex to be there because essentially, and when you think about it, you got to see. I mean, essentially, when you win 7 games, he's won 5 of them.
Right.
He's literally he's the reason why we're here anyway, and it would have been a great opportunity for him to kind of add to the folklore of the comeback player of the year. I mean, no question, he will be that. But so that's another dynamic too. So we're hoping, he is playing, but if he's not, we totally understand. Definitely, the calf injury is just, it's a serious injury, especially coming off of what he's already sustained. So this is it's a pretty significant injury. So for him to come back, even with this, it's a comeback within a comeback. So that's what makes it, interesting, as far as their decision tonight. So, Rob, the final thing we want to talk about tonight, prediction time. Your thoughts on literally how this game gonna play out in your opinion, and then let's the scores.
So, I think it's gonna play out very, very close, a lot closer than a lot of people think. I think Taylor Hennessy will end up starting the game because from everything I'm reading, Alex Smith's calf is getting worse. It's getting tighter. It's not loosening. And just seeing him and that lack of mobility against Philly, we can't have that against a defensive front like Tampa. So I think Hennessy will end up starting. I think it's going to give us a boost. I think we're actually going to put up 27 points against this defense. Like I said, their pass defense is not great. Mm-hmm. I believe it's 21st in yards and 20th in touchdowns. So we're right there. We can put up points against them, especially with a quarterback who they don't have film on, who they haven't really prepared for. And I think our defensive front is going to slow down Tom Brady to a certain degree. We're not going to shut them out. I'm not saying Tom Brady's going to go 0 for 25, nothing like that. He's still going to ball out. But my final score prediction is going to be Washington 27-24.
27-24, okay. All right. And yeah, and this could be definitely an interesting game. I know I keep on saying that; it sounds like that's a buzzword, but but I think essentially how the game's gonna play out. I think it's gonna be similar. Where I think Washington strikes first. I definitely think they're gonna maybe score. I say like maybe 14-3 ish, right around that tone. I see Tampa Bay kind of making a formidable comeback. I can see them essentially scoring 14 unanswered. Then I see Washington kind of weathering the storm. I got this team winning 21-17.
Yeah, it's going to be a close game. I don't think we're going to get blown out.
Yeah.
As a president off the ball network likes to think that we're going to lose by 21 today. I don't think it's going to happen. Our defense is going to be able to keep us in the game.
Yeah.
And Taylor Henderson is going to be able to put in some good plays.
Yeah, and the thing is too, where at this point, I think this game is going to kind of really let you know that okay, even though we everybody cracks jokes and say, hey, this team was 7-9, I think tonight is going to prove that okay, well, this team did deserve to play. This team did deserve to be in this game. So I think, and that's what I look forward to, and I think, I definitely think we have a great shot. Because to me, at the end of the day, like I said, said actually on Frankly Sports, I was like, this Washington football team is like alley cats. They're gonna scratch and claw their way, and they're gonna find their way.
Absolutely.
And, right, and all we are just passengers on the riverboat Rhine.
You're right.
And we get ready to land on Cruise Island.
Hey.
But yeah, man. So definitely appreciate you, Rob, for coming on today. Where can they find you on social media?
All right, y'all already know you can find me FNC Pod on Twitter, Facebook and Chill Podcast on Facebook and Instagram. I'm gonna start after the playoffs are done. I'm gonna start getting into some draft analysis. I'm focused solely on running backs, so be on the lookout for that in the next 3 to 4 months leading up to the draft.
Nice. And follow the podcast Couch Coach Live, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram on the Couch Coach Live. Also, check us out on YouTube. Also, check out what me and Rob's also doing on Off the Ball Network, offtheballnetwork.com. Also, social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Off the Ball Network. And yeah, man, definitely thank everyone for chiming in today. And before we head out, right, let's not do that. That's
put that up.
Right, because we know that's not going to happen.
We know it's not. He knows it's not.
You're right.
I just hope Prez is learning the lyrics to Fight for ODC.
Right. And hey, definitely appreciate everybody for checking out this Washington football game pregame show. We want to thank everybody for tuning in, commenting even negatively and positively. But we definitely catch you guys. We here next week.
We'll next week.
Yeah, we'll be here. We'll talk and we'll discuss Washington football and only way that me and Rob can do it. Give it to you straight, no chaser.
That's right.
So absolutely. So definitely appreciate everybody and enjoy the game. Enjoy Super Wildcard weekend. And we're here. Hail to the Washington football team and fight for ODC.